Good evening. My name is Sukh Chamdal, and I am the founder of the Egg-Free Cake Box. I've been in food manufacturing and retailing all my life. I grew up in the East End of London, highly Asian area, and my children and my family are vegetarians. They're lacto-vegetarians, so they don't eat eggs. I've got 4 children, and when it's their birthday, they have to have a cake. And if they don't eat cake or eggs, what do? Right? So I came up with a recipe, egg-free recipe, with the help of the dying days of the Labour government, who gave me £20,000 research grant, and the South Bank University. I opened the first cake shop in 2008. It was so successful. The demand was so much that I co-founded the franchise business in 2009, just a year later. From that single shop in 2008, we now have 101 franchised high street stores as of 30th of September 2018. We've added another 4 since then. We service them from a 30,000 square foot freehold property in Enfield. What do? I hope everybody's had a sample of the cake, and hope nobody's missed the egg. We have now brought back to the high street a cake shop, a fresh cream cake shop on demand. You can come into any of my shops and you can have a cake there and then, a selection of 40 or 50 of them, and we'll personalize it for you with any message there and then. You can order it online, 1 hour click and collect. You can visit the store. You can order in advance. No 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week. Or 1 hour, you can walk into the store, serve straight away. If you want a cake for 100 people, give us 20 minutes when you saw the one that you had there. All our cakes are egg-free. There's an interesting piece of research that MHP brought us to our attention. 1 in 20 people have an egg allergy. There's 12 million children in this country. That's 600,000 children who have to have a birthday cake without egg. There's only 1% of the population who are gluten-free, who are gluten intolerant, and even less vegan, only about 600,000. But a meat eater can eat meat, a vegetarian can't eat meat. So I'm sure most of you do eat meat, but you didn't miss the eggs in my cake. So they're suitable for everybody. We open each and every month 2 new franchise stores. Our growth profile has been that since we've opened, and we're continuing with that very strong growth profile. We offer a very attractive proposition for the franchisees, which I'll explain on the next slide. And we were recognised by the FT, the Sunday Times Virgin 100 Fast Track League tables. Doc?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Jaswir Singh. I'm Chief Operations Officer for Cake Box. I'm a medical graduate from the University of Leicester. My family textile business was in East London. We grew up in fabric shops selling fabrics throughout the 70s and 80s. And I've got 20 years experience in actually manufacturing of textiles and fabrics, and 40 years in high street retailing of fashion fabrics. I also had an Indian restaurant which I owned and operated for 10 years before I joined Cake Box as commercial director. And we at that time had only 3 branches in 2010. As Sukh said, we've got now more than 100 branches. And I look after the operations side of the business. Really grown phenomenally well, much better than we ever expected. And really, as it started off with the egg-free interest from the Asian population in East London, where it started off. But really now we're opening everywhere. So we're really open to everyone. You've all had, anybody not like the cake? That's probably a better way of asking rather than seeing a host. I don't see any hands up. Very, very popular with everyone. I mean, literally the egg is not missed. And it's for everyone. It's not just for people with egg allergies. Even people who are vegetarian, a lot of people, the Asian vegetarians, they consider egg to be meat. It's something that would work very well throughout the whole of Asia, actually. Because most of India is actually vegetarian, 60% of vegetarians in the population. So it's worked out very well, and we've, right from 2009, when we started with the first franchise store, we've really, it didn't develop as a business and then we decided to franchise it. We almost started right from the beginning, right from year one, when we launched that we were going to have it as a franchise. So we've already concentrated on having the franchise aspect of it. And we've tailored the business from what we started to making it franchisable. So we've concentrated on the bits of the business that really work well as a franchise. Initially, when Sukh started, we were doing wedding cakes, we were delivering the wedding cakes, we were doing intricate figurines of Winnie the Pooh, and or anything that anybody wanted, we would do for them. But we've now gone on to really channeling those things and de-skilling the whole operation so it can be easily replicated. And we've come up with a proposition which is quite easy and quite, taken up very well by franchisees, because it's very much everything is done for them. What we offer them a turnkey project. So there we help them with getting the premises in the first place, negotiating rents with landlords. We would help them with that. Site selection, we would help them with that. We'd go and see each site. And then we would provide everything for them. We would do the building for them with all the fit out, to provide everything they need, provide the training for them, set them up with all the initial product stock as well, and train them up to open the store. And then they're off. So it's an easy project for any franchisee to do. Sociable hours, our shops are open 11 till 7. We have a lot of women franchisees who find it quite manageable as a daytime operation. For food, that's quite good. Many food premises going on till midnight. The likes of Subway and KFC, etc. We're a profitable business. 99% of our stores are profitable. And many of them, actually, when they start, they're profitable from day one. Only one store out of our 105 is actually not profitable at the moment. I think that's pretty good for food businesses, especially. We don't actually charge a management service fee. We make our money by just building our profits into the price of the sponge. Normally, when franchisees, they have a separate management service fee of 7%, 10%. It can be quite a bone of contention, giving away 10% of your sales, hard-earned sales, for a bill for which you get nothing. So we've built that in, and people find a little bit of comfort in that. When you buy something tangible, it's easier to palate. The average EBITDA for our stores, nearly £100,000. We've got professional people, and my daughter's a pharmacist. After about 7-8 years, she's still on about £50,000-55,000. She's gone into one of these, and she's already above that with literally 3 or 4 months training. Just an average place, not even in a specially picked place for her or anything like that. And it's an 18-month payback for getting your return on your investment, which is only about £125,000. Very attractive proposition for franchisees. Go to the next slide. After that. Okay, so we're now presenting the first half-year results. We already went to IPO on the 27th of June, successfully. We opened at £1.08p. Immediately by the end of the day, we're at 1.27. So that was on the very lovely day of the 27th of June, which we all brought all our staff, about 50 people, at the stock exchange. And currently, in the first half of this year, we've added 15 franchise stores, and that's sort of generally what we want to do, add 2 to 3 stores every month. That's more than last year for 10. We've got 101 stores, as Sukh's already explained. It's gone up to 105 now. Our 100th store was in Bletchley. We opened up in Bletchley at the end of September. Record-breaking sales of more than £10,000 in the very first week. So we're already very, very well known. So has anybody heard of us before? No one's heard of Cake Box? You have? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you have. You don't count. 1, 3, 4 have. Anybody tasted our products before? Yeah? Good? Oh. Okay. Let me qualify. Before today, before 5:30 today. Yeah. I mean, wherever we go, people do seem to, especially the Asians. You can see the Asian hands going up first because they're always at Asian functions. Asians are very, very famous for big weddings and wedding cakes. Obviously, try to get an eggless cake and a reputable eggless cake that will arrive. We've seen a lot of penetration from where we started in East London right up to the north, where all the families are connected and sort of visit each other. So wherever we're going to open, when we put our banner up that we're going to open here, all the neighbours are always inundated with people coming and saying, when are they opening? When are they opening? For 1 month, we do that's the first thing we do is we put the shop front in, put a banner up. We don't open for another month, but we get a lot of interest generated already. So people are just bursting to come through the door. That's what happened at Bletchley. So anyway, 100 store Bletchley. We've got a strong balance sheet. Pardip, our CFO, will go on to give you more figures. 2.4 million cash at the bank at the end of September. Net cash position of 800,000. We're launching new products all the time. We've just launched the red velvet. Seems to be an iconic thing for a fantasy product, but everybody seems to know about red velvet. If you're doing red velvet, you must be an authentic, cake shop. And now, of course, our red velvet is egg-free. It's vegetarian, without the beetle shells. From a special beetroot colour, natural colour. We've developed cheesecake. That seems to have taken off. In fact, we're looking to mechanise the process for cheesecake. At the moment, we're making them by hand. We have a very nice caramel cheesecake, which has really improved sales. We may be even having counters which have only cheesecake collections. So these are new products we're going. And as we speak, we're negotiating, or we already negotiated, we're in the process of purchasing with the legal teams, purchasing our second warehouse and bakery, which will be located in Bradford. And that will help us serve our northern stores. We'll ease the logistics. When we have a slide later which we can show you, our stores range from Glasgow to Southampton. And we are currently, Glasgow we're not servicing from Enfield, but the other stores we're servicing from even up to Newcastle we're doing in a day. And this Bradford store, bakery and store will ease those logistics and make every site within 90 minutes from the warehouse. So that's happening as we speak. And also it will act as a disaster recovery plan, because we've got no eggs, but we've got eggs in one basket, but put our no egg cakes in one basket. We will have them in 2 baskets. Still no eggs. We've declared an interim dividend of 1.2p, which people are going to have just before Christmas. If you bought any shares, anybody bought any shares already? Oh, okay. Well, happy days, 20th of December for your dividend. So that you know, our franchisees will what they've been doing, performance of the franchisees. Sales are up 30% compared with the first half of last year. Average sales up £500 per week to nearly £7,000 per week. Online sales phenomenally unstoppable, growing almost double the previous year. Online sales, let me just explain what we mean online sales. We don't actually deliver any cakes, but we have a click and collect system, as Sukh mentioned. where everybody's shopping online now, browsing for whatever else they're buying, whether it's eBay or Amazon or wherever. Cakes also, they're researching on there. And once when they've been in store, they know we have a website and we are able to take orders online. When we come in the morning, in any shop, anything between 5 and 20 orders will appear on the screen. So people are shopping for the cake online and placing the order, come and collect any time that day or another day, whenever they choose to do so. That's a growth area which I'm sure we'll see a lot more of. Like-for-like sales, 4.4%. Disappointing. Generally, we're running a bit more than that. Pardip will tell us a bit more about that. But it was a long summer. Too much of a good thing. Even the barbecue was a little bit, barbecue meat sellers were really disappointed after a while because you just get fed up with the same thing. Too much of a good thing even it was just too long and too hot for many people. It was pretty much uncomfortable. So it was challenging, not just for us, it was challenging for everyone on the high street. More so for, I won't mention the name maybe, for other cake suppliers, non-eggless ones. You may have guessed who they might be. Just to give you an idea of how our estate is growing, we've got, as I said, more than 100. 63 of our stores are actually owned by just 18 franchisees. So 18 of our franchisees are multi-site owners. 2 actually own 7 each. And we have a little mini consortium of 3 people who work together. They've got 12 at the moment. But we are going to cap most single franchise owners to be no more than 10. We're aware of the pressures that we might get if we get we give too much power to our group of franchisees, or one franchisee with too many stores. So at the moment we are very, very fortunate. 7 is given to those people who can really know how to manage, who are rolling out the stores in exactly the same way. Okay, so we've already presented this figure. We've got 57 potential sites that are actually applied for. Of that, 35 are new sites, and the remaining sites are, 35 are sites applied for by new franchisees, people who don't have one before. The remainder, up to the 57 minus whatever, 35, 22, they are the existing franchisees looking for more stores. So that's the proof of the pudding. When you've got one store and you're looking for another one, and you've got 7, you've got to be doing well. You've got to like the product and have a lot of confidence to keep on buying more and more, which is what you see with McDonald's, if people are ordering 50, 100 of them. It's because they know the system. So it's something to watch out for. If you haven't bought the shares, well, it's still low yet, the price. Pardip, our CFO, will come along and introduce himself, and you can grill him on the numbers.
Dr. Singh's taken up all my time, so I'll be quite quick. My name is Pardip Das. I'm the Chief Finance Officer for CakeBox, and together with Sukh, I co-founded the CakeBox franchise way back in 2009. One of the first things I looked at was to see what is the franchisee going to make in this business, because there's no point in having a business model when they make nothing and we make everything. And I think because we've carried that ethos right the way through, you can see in the numbers, the success is really the franchisees are making a lot of money is the reason that we're here today with over 100 stores. I'm a qualified accountant. I've got more than 20 years experience in the food and beverage industry, way before we actually set up the franchise. I've specialised in multi-site, so this business is ideal for what I qualified in. And we'll present the financial highlights. So as you can see, we've had a very strong half year. Turnover of £8.3 million, is up 44% on the year before. Our underlying EBITDA and our profit before tax are both up 34%. We've stated those figures after the exceptional cost of £600,000 for the IPO that we had. Net cash, as Dr. Singh mentioned, we've got just under £1 million in the bank in net cash. Previously, we had net debt of £400,000, so our cash reserves have gone up by £1.2 million. Our underlying EBITDA is up 36% at 4.3p. and our interim dividend is up 17% at 1.2. And we're actually going to pay a third of that dividend next month, in line with our policy of paying 2/3 at year end. And paying 3.6% of the full year dividend is actually up 50% over the previous year. So it's a little bit understated on that number there. The next 3 pages, we've got detailed financial accounts there. I won't bore you with all the numbers, you can see those and digest those. And for each slide, what I'll do is I'll go through the key points. So in our income statement, our gross margin has gone up from 43% to 44.3%. So we've improved our gross margin. And the way we've done that is that we've installed new ovens at our facility in Enfield, and we get a better yield on the sponge. And so we're making more profit on that.
About that.
Things are repeating themselves. So I'll go into the balance sheet. Next slide. And we've got a strong balance sheet with £2.4 million in the bank as at 30th of September, up nearly £1 million from the year before. We've also got freehold property worth just under £4 million, and that's our site in Enfield. And the debt that we've got on there is just about £1.5 million. So we're quite low geared, which means that overall net assets are in excess of £5 million. So we've got quite a strong balance sheet, which will only improve as we're quite a cash generative business. Next one. Looking at our cash flow, we've had a slight decrease in operating cash flow in this half. The reason for that is, as we listed, we had £250,000 of PLC costs which weren't there the year before that. Yeah, so that's paying ourselves commercial salaries, whereas previously we took dividends. And we've also got quite a strong board. We've got 3 non-executive directors who are very strong in the field that they have, and so a lot of corporate governance as well. That's it really from me.
If you see our spread here, we spread from Southampton to Glasgow, and we don't have specific mileage between shops because each shopping area is individual. And in Southall, for example, in King Street and South Street, 2 distinct shopping areas, and both shops do very well, and they're owned by the same franchisee. We've got the same in Ilford, less than a third of a mile away, or they both are independent shopping areas, but it's all judged on every site that comes up. Somewhere like Leamington Spa will always only have 1 shop, but somewhere like Manchester will have 10 or 15. Same as Birmingham, same as all the conurbations, all where this really or concentration of population, we all play it by each individual site. We're aiming for 250 over the next few years at two a month. But once we reach that, there's every possibility that we'll go further. No, we don't. We don't want to do wholesale. Like, why cut your margins and sell it to a wholesaler when we've got our own internal market? All our shops are our internal market. And we're not intending on going to wholesale. And this is a fresh produce or something that's made for you, personalised.
Yeah. I mean, we audit our shops every 6 weeks, or even sooner if we find that there's any irregularities. There's absolutely no way that anybody's going to sell an Indian product. It's instant loss of licence if you sell an Indian product. Anyways, I mean, it just doesn't.
You've got them tied contractually.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And even cleaning products we supply them. We supply virtually everything to them. Even the black bags we supply them. And they'd be silly to go anywhere else, even for black bags. Where can you not get black bags? You can get them at any corner shop. But we've got the right ones which don't make a mess when the foxes and the rats have got to them, or just burst when you just put them down on the floor. These are good quality bags, and we've got our understanding with the franchisees that you must buy everything from us.
And that only happens if you've got unhappy franchisees. It only happens when franchisees are not making money. right? But all our franchises are making money and are all happy. And if you might have heard in the news, or one of the famous pizza franchises, or a couple of the most powerful ones are threatening to make their own dough, right? Because there's happiness in the ranks.
Our revenue.
Yeah.
Basically, as Dr. Singh said, that we supply everything to our franchisees. They've got an internal portal where they just tick everything they want and they get delivery on their doorstep. So they don't need to shop around anywhere. We make sure that it's very ethical. What we charge them are very competitive prices, so they don't need to look at elsewhere. They've got such a convenience of buying from us. And sometimes they have to buy everything from us because it's branded.
Yeah,
Branded boxes.
what's the margin on our sponge?
We make 70% margin on our sponge. Yeah, because we manufacture that, so obviously that will be high margin. But you know, the other products sometimes we only make 5–10% on. And we actually build the shop for the franchise as well, on which we make absolutely nothing from.
Yeah, but our main revenue stream is going to be the sponge, and the sponge is our unique recipe which they can't buy anywhere. Sorry. We've opened in Romford.
I mean, universal.
Yeah, we've opened in Romford, and that's one of our highest or grossing shops. Or we've opened recently. We opened in Southampton, Folkestone. We've opened in Aldershot.
Any particular area you'd like us to open in?
I live in Richmond.
We have got franchisees.
It's the reason why we haven't rushed there. We haven't got much interest from there. It's not about white or middle class. I mean, the more money there is, the less cake you eat. You haven't got time for it. That does actually work more in working class areas, I think, and that's because it's a small luxury. But yes, Richmond will get one, I'm sure.
Yeah, 60% at the moment, but I think that's because of the population is 60% in South East London. So I think that the state will grow in those numbers as well. And we haven't targeted specific territories. It's where the interest comes from. So if we get an interest from London, we'll pursue that franchise. If we get an interest from the north, then we'll pursue that franchise. So we haven't got a set target of what percentage we want down south versus down north.
And what about?
We don't, it's a set price that we recommend to the franchisee, but within our cake range, there's different prices. So take, for example, our 8-inch cake, which serves 8 servings. That ranges from £15 to £25. So if the franchisee feels that their customers poorer, then they'll sell cakes and make cakes and design cakes towards the £15 mark. So that's how we get over the different.
But on our website, the prices are exactly the same, be it Southampton, be it Glasgow, be it London. What we do, there's a twofold to this. We do all the national marketing, and all the franchises are committed to spend at least £100 a week to do local marketing. And local marketing means we've got franchisees who gives a cake to a food bank every week. And if there's any deprived children in that food bank, they'll get a cake free to celebrate that. So that's the biggest advertisement that you can get. We've got one franchisee who does, it's today actually, Wednesdays, for the whole of winter, he does a free hot food kitchen. He sponsors a hot food kitchen for the homeless, etc., with cake as well, a dessert, and some or sponsor cricket, local schools, local churches, but that's at their discretion. But the billboards, the buses, the TV advertisements, we do nationally.
We're fortunate because we've got no national competition, so why would we want to spend millions of pounds advertising?
And all our shops are walking, talking billboards, right? Bright purple, bright orange shop fronts, and interiors lightly bright or really brightly lit, and they are a draw. And so you've got 200,000 or 300,000 people walking past every day, being reminded that we're there.
I mean, marketing has to work hand in hand with the product. Really, it's the product that sells itself. I mean, it's no good having fantastic marketing when they come to your store and they don't like your product. you guys have had some of the product. I think you are going to market this for us now. We're actually going to go and tell everybody, oh, you've got a fucking cake, you will do. And that is really the best form of marketing.
Yes, sir. 125,000, 30,000 of that is our franchise fee, and the rest is the setup cost, the shop build. So 30,000 is pure profit there. He pays 125,000 plus VAT.
Yeah.
That includes £30,000 franchise fee,
Right.
and the rest goes towards the build.
Right. So who has the legal responsibility for the lease? Is
The
that-
franchisees. We don't guarantee no leases. We don't take out any personal guarantees. That's all down to the franchisee.
15.1% of the company. We were forced to sell the maximum that we wanted to sell at flotation because of the demand on the shares. We ideally wanted to sell between 30 and 40%, but we went to 49.9% because it's 4 times oversubscribed.
Can you say who the major institutions are?
Yeah, we can. AXA has got over 5%. Who's the other one? Lombard, Odia.
Yeah.
Schroders, what are the main ones? Otis.
Chemical.
Otis.
Otis.
Yeah, Cancord Wealth, they've got 5%. Access got 6.69%. Otis Capital's got 4.56%. Lombard Odia's got 3.18%. Amity Global Investors 3.17%. Ennismore 5.4%. Killick and Company 1.1%. Raymond James
That's small now.
0.4%. Yeah, all small
And
ones.
let's not forget the 10% before we floated. We gave a discount to franchisees and all of our employees through an EMI scheme. And we gave them 10% of the business at market capitalisation of 24 million. When 3 months later we floated at 43 million because we wanted everybody to share. Whoever could afford it to share in the success of Cake Box.
We expect them to increase. Obviously, we are very much in touch with the franchisees all the time, and we are introducing new products. I don't think there's any limit or capacity. Because they are making the cakes themselves, they have a good the expansion for the capacity. If in the shops, if they sell the cakes, they just replace the cakes. They make them all the time. They don't actually buy a certain amount or hold a certain stock. They actually make them on the day. I mean, we get these phone calls all the time. Have your cakes run out? I want a cake. Can you save one for me? I said, look, no, we're making cakes all the time, and you definitely will get one. So whatever cakes we're making and the new products we're making, it will be an organic growth.
And as the brand awareness grows, the sales of the mature stores grows as well. As soon as we open in an area and we open a second shop, the first shop sales goes up because of the brand awareness. And as we open more and more, we find all the mature stores sales going up as the whole group sales have gone up.
Yeah. Sorry,
most-
can I just clarify?
No, we bake the sponges for the fresh cream cakes, but there's certain products like the loaf cakes which we make, the cupcakes and the muffins, we bake and we send out and they decorate.
But the large majority of what we do, celebration cakes, the sponge goes out to the franchisee, the cream goes out, and then they assemble the cake on the spot according to the requirements for what's been selling out for display. They're topping it up all the time.
Most of our delivery is ambient. So I think that says it all. We don't make the cakes, put the fresh cream on it, and then send it out. Most of our products are ambient. Apart from fresh cream, everything else we send out is ambient.
Well, we have actually a resident health and safety officer who actually studies all these things all the time. Of course, we're all aware of Pret a Manger's unfortunate incident with the sesame seed. It is unfortunate. I don't know how much of this description, it's all legal requirement, which we obviously try to do, even Pret a Manger said they were legally compliant. And you can debate whether that was the child's fault or was it their fault that this happened. We do try and put on as much as we can, and we have, when this happened with the Pret a Manger, we sent out instructions to everybody to even up the game and put out more notices, and even to train the staff, all the staff, about these allergies and get signed pieces of paper back from every staff that they know what these allergies are all about. So we really take that very, very seriously. It obviously hasn't done technology any favours. I mean, they're still there, but it is something you have to be really, really wary of. We do, yes. I mean, it's not something we're working on. I mean, as we've refined this model, we've got the blueprint refined as to what is easy to do as a franchise. And what's important is to get your products right so that they are easily, in a simple way, franchisable, deliverable, and at the other end, with the minimum of training, which is what McDonald's essentially have done, de-skilled everything and just put together all the thinking, the intelligence is in head office. All it is to make it as simple as possible as a business model. As that is being refined, it has been over the last years that we've been working. Once we've got the blueprint for that, that can just go anywhere, provided we can find the right partner. And that's the difficult thing in India, is finding the right partner who will be, we can trust to give us something back.
I've got a colleague in India who runs a dessert place, and he's got a estate of 250 stores just in Mumbai, just in one city. So you extrapolate that across the whole of India, it's a huge market. We've had the produce from the Middle East, or to put that concept in there, but we're not ready yet. And we're not going to be hurried to overseas expansion because we need to concentrate here. Let's get our house in order here. Let's get to saturation, and then we may think about it.
When it happens, it will be a master franchise that we will award to someone, and we'll start off, I suppose, in Norway, the one big bakery and a few satellite stores, and it will grow from there.
We'll get last question.
Mars bars, Cadbury chocolates have been around for 100 years, right? We are not an everyday product. We are an occasions product. You have a birthday once a year, anniversary, etc., and it's a treat. It's not something that you eat 3 days a week. We're not all healthy. We're 40% fat cream, right? We've got jam. We've got sugar in it. On our website, it says there, if you need to count the calories, don't eat our cake.
On that note, I think you all need to consume responsibly and have another slide. Yeah. But I think the gentlemen are around for more questioning, so thank you very much.